All right, wrestling fans, it is another three-parter in the We Can't Wrestle podcast. Nate, Aaron, Kyle, and Archie back with you discussing 1992 in professional wrestling. Here we go. We're the next topic, Pro Wrestling Torch Newsletter Awards. Best pay-per-view of 92. Archie, take it away.
Again, I told you guys that I have a biased list, and I went with the entire Royal Rumble 1992 pay-per-view.
That's mine as well.
And spoiler alert, it is also mine. As much as I love WrestleMania that year, the Royal Rumble kicks the year off in a way that in the WWF and WCW, any promotion in the 90s for sure, you'd never seen. And the Royal Rumble match is fantastic. The card leading up to it is fantastic. Overall, I think I agree.
You had guys on the lower card that weren't just there for a paycheck. They were literally there to make it a main event feel for the entire card.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And Jake the Snake and Piper feuding throughout the entire night, leading into the match. Roddy Piper getting the feel-good moment of becoming the Intercontinental Champion, and then going into the Royal Rumble, and he cuts a promo, and he's like, and I'm going to do something no one's ever done. I'm going to become a two-time champion all in one night. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then Flair's iconic promo at the end of the show with a tear in my eye is by far my favorite promo. I don't care what anybody says. I have two favorite promos in this world, and they're neck and neck. Flair's with a tear in my eye, and Shane Douglas when he thrusts down the NWA title and tells every former champion that they can kiss his ass.
I don't want to leave 1992, but I would also put up Dusty Rhodes' Hard Times promo.
No, that's in my heart. That's not a favorite. The Dusty Rhodes' Hard Times is something I will quote to this day. When I'm having a bad day, I put on the Hard Times promo.
Give him a watch and a kick in the butt.
Right.
You get a pay slip because a computer took your job.
Yeah. How apropos that is for today.
Yep.
Kyle, you didn't chime in there. What was your pick?
Royal Rumble 1992.
All right, we're all in agreement. So let's see what the Pro Wrestling Torch readers thought in 1992. Best pay-per-view, number 3, Super Brawl. Number 2, WrestleMania. And number 1, God damn it, it's the Royal Rumble. So there you go.
Want to circle another motherfucker.
All right, guys, 1992.
Nate.
Go ahead, Kyle. Go ahead, Archie.
You don't know what Hard Times is, Daddy. Hard Times is when some millennial tries to cancel Dr. Seuss, Daddy.
Hard Times.
Give you a watch. Give you a watch. And a cat in a hat.
Hard Times is when somebody gives you a watch, kicks you in the butt, and tells you how to label your potato head.
Right.
No.
Let me tell you something, baby.
No. Hold on. Hard Times.
Pepe Le Pew.
Put them on eBay.
Pepe Le Pew came out the bitch looking so sweet.
All right. Rising star of 1992. Archie Mitchell.
I had a few that I was jumbling with. I thought about Dustin Rhodes, but then I remembered that Dustin was already in WCW for a couple of years already. He, got done with the WWF and went to WCW. For me, it was Mick Foley, though. Cactus Jack.
Great pull. He had a fantastic match with Sting at Beach Brawl in 92 and was really starting to develop that Cactus Jack character.
Right. That crazy motif of him and Abdullah the Butcher fighting all over the arena all night long for no reason.
What's in the box? What's in the box? And I'm not going to discount that at all. I think that's a great poll. It wasn't my pick. I had to. Aaron, you're next, actually.
My rising star of 1992 was Stunning Steve Austin.
Good choice again.
Absolutely.
Very good choice.
He was
Stunning Steve was great. I shouldn't say great. Stunning Steve was cool in Texas, and Stunning Steve was cool in like '91 when he first got to WCW and he was with Lady Blossom and everything like that, and was like like at the time he was like the longest reigning TV champion and everything like that. But in like '92, Steve obviously became a different performer when he became Stone Cold. And Nate, you and I have talked about this, and it's like the tales of two Steve Austins, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah,
But in
definitely.
'92, Steve was fucking killing it, man, and was doing fantastic work with like Dustin and Steamboat and just fucking
Yep.
drilling it all night
He
long.
had a couple of great matches with Shane Douglas too, because they were trading the tag title. You know, they were involved in
Yeah.
the tag team, feud and everything.
Mhm.
Steve
Yeah.
was just on a tear,
Steve was a rising star in '92.
without a doubt.
Kyle.
The one, the only, Eric Watts.
You're fired.
Log off. Have a good night.
No, Razor Ramon.
What's that?
Razor Ramon.
Good pick.
Reza Ramon.
Double
Early in his
Chico.
career, but he was definitely rising.
Definitely, and he got Scott Hall was so good that he was one of those few guys that got immediately thrust into the main events. You know,
Yep.
because I mean they saw it. You know, I mean in reality, Scott Hall had been around since fucking '85.
Right.
You know, but absolutely the gimmick, the character really kind of coming into his own, defining himself.
You know what I've realized over the last couple of years too, Nate?
What's that?
Razor Ramon, the gimmick, was not that much different than the Diamond Stud.
Oh no.
Except he spoke. That was the only difference.
Except Vince McMahon knew how to use him.
Right. He actually knew how. He told him, go out there and cut a promo. And he cut a promo.
Hey yo, I cut a promo.
Yeah.
I fucking love when he's in that fucking restaurant and they're like, "Was this the bill?" He's like, "I should fuck it. Oh, you want me to bust my own table too?"
It is good. It's so good.
Can I say something about Scott real quick?
Yes,
Sure.
go ahead.
You know how like people talk about like, oh, if you were gonna draw a professional wrestler, okay, like, oh, like, hey, somebody that doesn't necessarily watch professional wrestling, draw me a professional wrestler. They're gonna draw you Scott Hall. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like Scott had the stature, he had the size, he had the he had the look of a professional wrestler. But what I'll go with what Kyle said, even though I'd still Steve, Scott's a good choice because Scott not only was like what somebody that doesn't watch wrestling would think a wrestler looked like, but Scott was fucking fantastic. He was a great professional wrestler. Like Scott Hall doesn't get enough credit.
I agree.
For being like he gets enough credit for his charisma and his character and all that, but Scott Hall, the wrestler, doesn't get enough credit for being the wrestler that he was.
Right.
In my
I kind of had a tough time with this one because I had two guys that were in my mind as I thought about it. And so I'm going to say both and then I'll say who I picked ultimately. The first guy that I thought was one of the biggest rising stars of the year was Brian Pillman. I think that even though 89, 90, 91, he was there. He was doing great things. He was this young up and comer, et cetera, et cetera. I think 92, he really came into his own and started developing.
You could time in with Steve a little bit on that.
Yeah, as a star, as opposed to a good hand. You know what I mean? But the guy I ultimately went with over Pillman for 92 as the rising star was Shawn Michaels. This was the year
certainly coming into his own.
Yeah, this was the year that he became the Heartbreak Kid. And, he started out the year just having great matches with guys like Tito Santana and et cetera. And by the end of the year, he was the IC champ and had that, as Aaron alluded to earlier in the show, had that great match with Brett at Survivor Series. So he was my pick. Let's see who the readers of the torch picked. 1992 Rising Star, number 3, Too Cold Scorpio.
That's a good one.
Not a bad choice.
Number 2, at that point, I could see this, Brian Christopher.
Okay.
Yeah.
And number 1, I happen to be right this time, Shawn Michaels.
It makes sense
So-
for the timeline.
Those were the picks. All right, this one's interesting. I think this one's going to be fun. Career tailspin of 1992. Who was in a tailspin in 92, Archie?
I'm going to get some heat for this.
You might not. You never
But
know.
right after he finished up his feud with Macho Man, he head out the door and he headed for WCW.
I know you're picking, and it's probably mine.
I am picking Jake the Snake Roberts.
I did too.
I feel that this is where he really started that downward turn and never recovered. He went from high-profile feuds and always involved in a match that was just before the main event, if not the main event, whether he was face or heel, and he went to WCW. We got those Halloween Havoc vignettes for the spin the wheel, make the deal, and then he feuded with Sting, and he was out the door again.
All
Jake,
right, that's
actually mine, and it's sad, really, and it's not how do I would say, like, Jake's career tailspin was partially his fault, but not entirely his fault.
Right.
If Bill Watts would have been able to, and I don't even want to blame Bill Watts entirely, but if Bill Watts would have been able to look past possibly his personal dislike for Jake Roberts
Right.
and use Jake Roberts to his full potential, it could have been so much better.
Oh, yeah.
But at the end of the day, I also understand that Bill Watts was probably looking at Jake Roberts and was like, I know your personal track,
Right.
Mhm.
that you're not a reliable human being, you know?
Right.
Kyle.
The Ultimate Warrior.
A good pick.
A good pick, definitely.
He did start his OnlyFans in '92 when he came out at SummerSlam looking naked. But anyway,
This is it. This is when I think the heard to see the poop off the fucking rose with this guy.
as a matter of fact, this is when the Root died. Probably.
I mean, yeah, granted they brought him back in 96, 98,
Oof.
but it just like this was probably his one chance to fucking regain anything from WrestleMania 6.
Yep.
And it just shits the bed. I mean, think about it, because not only do you have this big jacked up steroid guy, the Ultimate Warrior comes out with the face paint and everything else. On WCW, we have Sting, who's doing it better.
Right.
2, like I said, you start to see the changing of the guard, because soon Hogan's out, Warrior's out. It's now Shawn and Brett and Razor and
Right.
You're speaking to me, Warrior. My pick, I guess I kind of went very deep on this, but attendance is down. Popularity of pro wrestling on a national basis, not with fans like us, but with mainstream fans, is nil. The bottom's kind of fallen out to the point where WWF's looking to expand into Europe and stuff because that's where shit's still popular.
Oh, Vince?
No, Hulk Hogan. He decides early in the year as Hogan, he master politician. Hulk Hogan's like, business is down, brother. I want to do a retirement angle. Like Hogan sees the writing on the wall. He's not the draw he once was. So I'm going to do a retirement angle, and I'll come back when the sun comes up.
Right. Oh, and will
But-
you put the belt on somebody that could actually lead the company? Like
yeah,
Nick
yeah,
Rizzuto?
I'll come back and then beat him for it. And that didn't work out for him either. But
Nope.
anyway, I give it to Hogan. Like, I think 92 is finally the and you know, we can fast forward to 96 when he reinvented himself.
Right.
But to me, from 92 to when he turned Hollywood Hogan, Hogan was just another guy. He
Look,
wasn't a
hanging
key
on.
factor.
Look at '94 when he goes to WCW. It's kind of a cool thing for like the first month or two.
And then it becomes
But then
Yeah,
for Hulk, who do you want to work with? Can I work with everybody I worked with from like 87 to like 91?
yeah.
the reason I wouldn't say it's a career tailspin.
Well,
It's because
we're talking in the context of that year though. Like, we don't
No,
know the
the-
future.
But no, I'm still saying that. The reason I wouldn't say it's a career tailspin is because he was still making Hulk Hogan fucking money.
Right.
He was still
Jake
getting
disappeared until like
Jake-
95, I
Jake
think.
Jake went to WCW and had a multi-million-dollar contract when he went there, and then Bill Watts took over.
And
Bill Watts said, "You're not worth this. I'm going to pay you $500 a match."
and Bill Watts gave him the Archie Mitchell deal with cheeseburgers. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Damn.
and
Hey,
that's why I'd
gonna
say
have to recut my contract
it
after
wasn't a career tailspin for Hogan. It was a creative tailspin for Hogan. If that makes sense.
Here's the thing. Again, I'll argue Aaron's point too. Hogan still stayed in the mainstream. He was still at WrestleMania. He was still went to WCW. Jake disappeared for like 3 years after his WCW
Right.
stint. You know, he was
Like-
out of the
like-
limelight.
Hogan wasn't eating fucking Whataburgers in a goddamn
Right.
ditch.
Right.
Jake was in the ditch going, "What's a burger?"
The hell's
So-
Warrior.
Oh, what's that on my jacket? Chocolate?
Here's
Something
what
off of
here's what the readers of the voted in 1992 career tailspin
I'm
number 3, Hulk Hogan.
sure you got that.
Number 3, Hulk Hogan. Number 2, Ron Simmons.
Wow.
Really?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, in 92, he
Ron
went from
tailspinned a little bit.
he went from world champ. The problem with Ron was they never. Okay, Bill Watts.
Bill wanted to go with him, but he didn't have anybody to give him.
Let's be honest about Bill Watts. Bill Watts is a racist, but Bill Watts is a money racist. But no, and you know, Bill Watts is a racist, but he's like, well, we're down south in Alabama, so we better have a black champion. So anyway, Bill Watts never got behind Ron Simmons 100% as champion. He made Simmons champion because he knew that it would draw in the markets he wanted to draw in, but he still focused on Sting. So Ron Simmons, unfortunately, as fucking tastic as Ron Simmons is, as a world champion, he got to defend against mid-card heels.
Tex
That's what I
Slasher.
just said.
1 second.
They made Ron the champ. They made Ron the champ, but they didn't give him anybody. They gave him Barbarian.
Yeah, and that's not a
I
knock
love
on
Barbarian.
Barbarian.
I love Barbarian.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate real quick for
Okay.
Ron Simmons' Sting thing. I'm not saying that fucking Bill Watts isn't a fucking old racist, but
He is, and he was, and he
I'm-
always will be.
I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, if you have Ron Simmons and you have Sting, and you look at the money you're paying Sting, you're gonna be like, well, fuck, we're paying him all this money. We better fucking use him.
Or you could tell him, like Jake Roberts, you're $500 a week and a cheeseburger.
Yeah, but
I'm just playing devil's advocate to your devil's advocate.
I think that's the problem.
I have a
The
dumb
problem
question.
is, Kyle, we are both devil's advocates.
I have a dumb question that I can't remember. I can't believe I forgot this. Who did Simmons lose the world title to?
Vader.
Was it Vader? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
All right,
he
just
won it
making
from
sure.
Vader,
He
lost
beat,
to Vader.
he
Lost to
beat
Vader.
Vader. He beat Vader for the title in front of a black audience, and then Vader beat him for a title in front of a white audience. And there you go. There's Bill Watts booking, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so who was number one?
Number one, and actually, when I thought about it, this isn't a bad pick by the readers of the torch. Tailspin of 1992, Owen Hart.
Wow. Owen really wasn't doing anything before 92, though.
But no, before 92, he was seen as like a Brian Pillman type where he was an up-and-coming rising star. And then by the
Yeah.
time you get into 92, and this is no hate on Coco, but by 92, Coco was,
Right.
past his prime. He gets saddled with Coco and pajama pants. And then he gets tobacco spit in his face by Skinner at WrestleMania.
Right.
And just overall, I can't disagree. I mean, I disagree with who's number one, but Owen really did have a career tailspin in 92.
I guess.
All right, guys. Tag team of the year, 1992. Archie?
For me, I'm a huge Dangerous Alliance fan, and it had to be Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko.
Okay.
They were, I believe they were known as the Enforcers, as the tag team name, and they played off of each other so well. Arn being the brutish, enforcer, and Zbyszko being the chicken shit heel, but with a good background as a brawler. And I mean, they were a great tag team. I think they were 3-time tag team champions. Feuds with Scorpio and Bagwell, Ricky and Shane Douglas, and Ricky Steamboat, Dustin and Barry Windham. And then they were interchangeable with Bobby Eaton every now and then, too. So it kind of made them a great tag team.
They called Larry the Cruncher.
Yes.
Cruncher.
The Cruncher.
He broke Barry Windham's hand in the door.
Yeah. Which
Aaron?
that's funny because they pull up to that event and Bischoff's waiting to interview him, and then fucking Barry and fucking Dustin pull up in this Porsche, and Barry's going to get out, and fucking Larry kicks the door and crushes Barry's hand.
No, Arn grabs his hand, pulls it forward, and then here comes Zbyszko and goes crunch. So it was all set up.
crunches his hand. But then Dustin's like, shit. And then he just kind of jumps from the passenger seat
into the
driver's seat and just looks at Bischoff. I was like, we got to go to the hospital. And he drives away. And Larry and Eric's just like, all right.
That gave me a great idea.
What?
When we have a really good show, we won't be the Pro Wrestling Porch. We'll be the Pro Wrestling Porsche. But anyway, that was going back to earlier in the show when I fucked up. Aaron, what was your favorite tag team of 92?
Well, I'm gonna tell you my favorite tag team, but I'm also gonna tell you what Arn, that I've heard through several shoot interviews, used to call Larry Zbyszko when they were a tag team. Do you know what he called Larry Zbyszko?
What?
He used to call him the cigar store Indian.
Why?
Because Arn said he would be out there bumping and doing everything, and Larry just stood on the corner doing nothing, like a cigar store Indian.
That's funny.
But
so what's your choice?
My best tag team of 1992 is the Steiner Brothers.
Agreed. Spoiler alert. Agreed. The Steiners had...
You don't get much better than Rick and Scott. From
and
89, from 89 to 93, you get nothing better than Rick and Scott.
And hey, listen, in 92, you have Rick and Scott versus Dr. Death and Terry Gordy. Holy shit. Those are the best tag matches that year. Hands down, end of story. Just four guys beating the fuck out of each other. We talked about it earlier when we talked about the match of the week. Real, wrestling looking real and looking like a fight. At this time, in this era, nobody did that better than the Steiners in tag team wrestling.
No. Mine is also the Steiner Brothers.
So I'm the odd man out.
If nothing else,
you are.
Because if you want to talk about wrestling tag teams and everything else, because we're not talking about the future. We're talking about this year.
Exactly.
The fact is, in November 1992, they signed with the World Wrestling Federation.
Mm-hmm.
Everything they've done with WCW up to this point, and now they're going to the big show.
And getting totally misused, but that's a whole nother show.
Again, like I said, that's future. We don't know that. We just, at this point, in 92, it's like, holy shit. The Steiner brothers are going to the World Wrestling Federation. Like,
Mm-hmm. And then at Royal Rumble 93, they almost kill Blake Beverly. All right, so let's see what the readers of the Torch voted in 92. Number 3, you were almost there, Archie. Arn Anderson and Bobby Eaton. Number 2.
quick, I'm sorry. Bobby Eaton doesn't get enough love.
No,
I agree.
God, no.
I agree with that.
Bobby Eaton is, okay, you know how they say Ric Flair could wrestle with a broom and have a good match? Bobby Eaton could tag with a broomstick and have a good tag team.
Yeah.
So number 2 in the tag team of the year for 92, the Steiners.
Oh.
Should have been number 1. I want to circle something.
Number 1, and I mentioned them earlier as in this conversation, Steve Williams and Terry Gordy.
It makes sense. They were big in Japan, and when they came into WCW, they were on a tear. So.
All right. Best promos of 92, Archie.
I talked about it earlier. The best promo of 1992, Ric Flair's Royal Rumble promo.
And he consistently had the best promos of 92, so I voted for him as well.
Yep.
I did as well.
Same here.
So we don't have to debate that much. Best promos, number 3, and I will totally agree with this, Cactus Jack.
Mm-hmm.
I just said earlier he was kind of coming into his finally like fitting into those shoes, you know, with the Cactus Jack character in 92. Number 2, Jim Cornette. And number 1, Ric Flair. 1992 worst promos. Archie?
Anything Hulk Hogan. That's what I wrote down. Anything Hulk Hogan.
Okay, brother.
I'll be honest with you. As a kid, I guess I was giddy. It's Hulk Hogan. He's doing his shtick, whatever. As an adult, when I look back at 1992, it was the same damn promo every night. Whether he was talking about Sid, Ric Flair, or Macho Man, they were interchangeable. You just had to switch the name.
Well, and that's kind of what I was getting at with the tailspin thing, with the career tailspin thing. You know, it was getting stale. You know,
I agree.
85 through 89-ish, maybe 90. Maybe exiting the feud with Slaughter. You know, his Hulk Hogan shtick worked. And I didn't put him as my worst promos, but I definitely see where you're coming from.
Yeah, it was just
because it was just getting so stale. You know, it was the same. It was the same insert heel name here promo, and
then say your prayers, take your vitamins. What you gonna do, brother? And
drink your milk. Yeah, Aaron, worst promos of 92.
Virgil. That guy was fucking hot garbage. He said nothing that made sense.
$20 a promo. Too legit to quit.
Virgil cutting a promo made Brutus Beefcake look like Buddy Rogers. He was fucking garbage. Like he cut and I've never seen Virgil do a promo that was good. Never. In my entire life.
Nope.
But in 92, it was the absolute worst because they let him do like 2 of them on fucking Primetime or Superstars. Like Virgil was like he was fucking garbage. Human garbage. Fuck Virgil.
I'm gonna have to go with Ultimate Warrior.
You should have went with Virgil.
At least Virgil was somewhat coherent.
I love it. Like the
I'm speechless.
so is
I don't know what to
Virgil.
say. Poor Virgil, if he listens to this show.
And my
If he
vote
is-
was
If
My-
Virgil's listening to this, and if Virgil is a
Oh, he
member
is.
of our Facebook group,
Oh, he
please
is.
unsubscribe and stop listening.
my vote was for Van Hammer.
He was pretty bad.
He was not pretty bad. He was fucking terrible.
He was terrible. He was terrible.
Always terrible. DD Page. That
was in
92.
98, though.
I know that's not 92. All right, let's see what the readers of the Torch said. Worst promos 92. Let's see here. Number 3. Oh, Van Hammer. Number 2, Tony Atlas.
Yeah, figured it out.
And
I agree
number
with that.
1, 92 worst promos, Eric Watts.
Fuck, it should have been Virgil.
You know, Kyle mentioning him earlier totally threw me off my game that I just didn't think of Eric Watts this time around.
All right. We're down to two topics. First is most underutilized in 1992. Archie?
I looked around at a list of wrestlers that there were in 1992. Couple popped up. One of them being Brian Pillman, who we mentioned earlier. Another one for the WWF side of things was Owen Hart, who was mentioned earlier as well.
Mm-hmm.
But in my opinion, Dustin Rhodes was underutilized and should have been pushed a little harder. He busted his ass, plain and simple. They could have put him in there with anybody, and he gave a great match every time. Was a fantastic tag team wrestler with Ricky Steamboat and Barry Windham. I love the way that when Windham comes back from injury, they kind of like shooed Ricky away. But yeah, Dustin Rhodes has got my vote.
I can
That's
see
a good
that,
choice.
Aaron.
Nate, not I'll tell mine in a minute, but hasn't there been like shoots out there with like Bruce Pritchard and a couple people where they said in like 92 they thought about bringing Dustin in to fucking work with Hogan?
Yeah. And I don't remember the specifics, but I definitely remember hearing that. Yes.
Because he's a big boy and he can work and whatnot. But
and then shit went south with Hogan because he had the career tailspin of 92.
Yeah,
Anyway,
Hogan would have shit on him anyway. It wouldn't have mattered. He wouldn't have given him anything.
it'd have been hard times for Dustin Rhodes, baby.
So this is most underused of 92.
Yes.
My most underused of 92 is Haku.
That's a good pick.
That's a good pick. Yes, it is.
I know, that's why I picked him. I think he could have been a good bruiser and like maybe like got a good like intercontinental title feud out of him. He could have done a lot of good shit with the guy and like Haku, I could put Haku on my list for a lot of years up until like he became Mang and they put him in WCW and then they actually kind of started doing shit with him in WCW. I think Haku is a super underutilized wrestler through his entire career.
I agree with you on that. When he was in WCW as Ming, he didn't have to be in the Dungeon of Doom or with the Barbarian again. They could have just let him be, the monster heel that he was, but they had to saddle him, I guess, with a tag team partner. For lack
Which
of,
I love the Faces of Fear. Faces of Fear is fucking awesome.
I love him, but my point is Haku could have been a monstrous United States or World Television Champion, an unstoppable heel. He didn't need a tag team partner. Thank God he had one that actually was great with him, Barbarian. But as Haku in the WWF with Bobby Heenan, he was awesome.
Yeah, and like I said, I think in like '92 they could have done. I honestly think like a Bret Hart Haku Intercontinental title feud would have been fucking great.
How about a singles feud with Davey Boy?
Yeah, anything.
No title involved.
Anything with
Just let these
Haku
guys
would have
tee
been
off
great.
on each other.
Yeah, so that's my choice.
Kyle?
Because I don't know, you might. Hopefully, you can see where I'm coming from with this, but
You say Eric Watts again.
no. In 1992, underutilized Scott Norton.
Okay, not a bad choice. Not a bad choice.
Always been a fan of Scott Norton. He is that holdover of that old school what pro wrestler used to be. And granted, like I said, he was with New Japan and stuff, and he was coming over for WCW. But still, it's like, can you imagine if they had put some shit behind him?
He was
like
physical. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Scott Norton is to singles wrestling what the Steiners are to tag team wrestling, if that makes sense. In this time frame, he had the potential to be, that badass guy you put in matches with a Steve Williams or a Terry Gordy or who have you, and maybe not necessarily a world's champion, but most definitely like a U.S. or a TV champion.
Yep,
definitely.
Yeah,
he could have been a WWF guy too.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's be honest.
Absolutely.
That fucking chest and fucking goddamn, that guy was.
I think he might have even been. I think he might have even been on my list to, like, you know, when we were talking about like guys that never worked for the WWF. Like, why didn't this guy work for the WWF? I think Norton was on my list.
Mm-hmm.
Like Norton.
Oh, he's such a badass.
How he never had any title in WCW is beyond me.
How he never made it to the WWF is beyond me.
That too, but
Which is what I just said.
When he was with Buff Bagwell, they could have been tag team champions and a series contender.
Yeah.
Or put him with anybody. He was with Ice Train. They could have been a tag. They were feuding with the Steiner brothers, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
You know, it just made no sense. It's like they let him be who he was, but yet they also let him get squashed by the Giant 3 or 4 times. You know.
I kind of had two. Again, this is back to my kind of tie with Michaels and Pillman, but I kind of had two this year in the most underutilized in 92. One of them was Bobby Eaton. Because I think even though Bobby Eaton was never fantastic on the mic, okay? He was a simple promo guy. But that didn't matter, because if you could find someone to put with Bobby Eaton, like Cornette, like fucking Teddy Long, I don't care. Put a mouthpiece with Bobby Eaton,
right,
and then have them brag about he's the best wrestler in this business. Again, maybe not a world champion, but you could put. I mean, and they put him with Paulie.
What they say about like Bobby? He'd be like, "What'd you do, buddy?" I think that's how he does.
Yeah.
I listened to a shoot interview with Cornette once about him walking out of WCW, him and Stan Lane. And Bobby walks up to Corny and he's like, "I want to go with you." And Cornette looks at him and goes, "Dude, you still have a year left on your contract, and they're $250,000 a year."
Actually, what they do, what Cornette said was that Stan and Corny were like, "We're quitting,
right,
done."
Bobby's like, "I'll go with you. Let's go."
And all he sees is Stan and Bob. All he sees is Stan and Corny picking up their bags, and Bobby's like, "What are we doing?
Where are we going?
Like, we just quit." And he goes, "All right, I'll go with you." And they're like, "No, buddy, you got kids and shit. You gotta stay."
Year left. Bobby had a year left, and it was a $250,000 contract. Why would you leave?
That reminds
Go ahead and stay.
Reminds me of Jericho when he left for fucking WWF. Ralph was like, "When are we going to New York?"
Right, when are we going to New York?
Jericho's like, "How the fuck does he know fucking New York?"
Bobby was my runner-up for the year, but actually my underutilized of the year was what the torch readers apparently picked as the career tailspin of the year, and that was Owen Hart.
Owen Hart. Wow. Okay.
Um,
I was with Owen too. I had him. I was juggling him.
he should have been in the mix much sooner than he was.
He didn't have to be going for a title either. He could have just been in a good feud. Not with
Yes.
Skinner.
Yes.
Not with Skinner.
Can I say this? I know we're not supposed to look at this with like hindsight or whatever,
Oh, go ahead.
but I'm glad he wasn't. I'm really glad he wasn't.
Because
say you put Owen Hart in 1992 as babyface Owen Hart, and they try to push him and it doesn't work. I don't think that Vince McMahon has the thought process of, okay, let's go with him. Let's try it. I think it wouldn't have worked in 92. And I think Vince would have said, why would we go with him in 93? He was a failure earlier.
Right.
So I'm kind of glad they didn't.
That's a good point. He might have ended up being fired for all we know and ended up in WCW.
Right.
Yeah. So thank God it didn't happen.
He would have been feuding with Eric Watts.
So here's what the torch readers decided were the most underutilized in 92. Number 3 is one that had I looked at this before, again, that's why I don't look at them before I make my picks. Had I looked at this, I probably would have thrust him above Owen. And that is our friend Raven, Scotty Flamingo. Underutilized.
What about me? What about the Flamingo?
Just one of my favorites, just promos and attitude. And at this time, that Scotty Flamingo character was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Johnny Polo was cool.
Yeah. I mean, just overall, just misused. Number 2, Arn Anderson.
Okay.
And number 1, I don't agree with this. By this time, he's fallen out of my graces. I'm sorry. Terry Taylor.
Yeah, that's not on. There's no.
Like if we were talking about 1989 in the WWF,
or 90, even 90 in the WC when he went back to WCW, Why? That's underused. What? He's underused because he can't do anything anymore. They've run out of things to give him.
I've never seen the appeal of Terry Taylor ever.
No, dude, seriously, no. And I'm going to.
No, he had it.
I'm going to be pretentious here, Kyle. I'm going to be pretentious.
Terry Taylor was fantastic in the ring.
If you've never seen the potential in Terry Taylor, I want you to hop on YouTube or WWE Network before it gets peacocked in the butt and watch Terry Taylor in Mid-South in like 85, 86, even 87. Then you'll see what I'm saying about potential, because that dude at that time was, and you guys, everybody can virtually slap me if you want to, but if he would have been used properly from that moment on, he could have been as big as Bret Hart. He was that fucking good.
I'll go back and look.
But anyway, our final category, if you will, for 1992 is most over pushed. And Kyle had a robber baron laugh there. Archie, what's your pick for most over pushed?
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Think so?
Hulk Hogan was overpushed in 1992. Yes.
But, I mean, he only lasted 4 months into the year.
Yeah, and in that 4 months, he stole the main event from Flair and Savage.
All right.
He acted like a total heel when he got pushed out of the Royal Rumble and pulled Sid out. And basically, he did the same old, boring, tired shit.
And that is a valid point.
So,
Aaron?
I'm gonna go with the human clump, Virgil.
You didn't like
Really?
Virgil's theme music?
In 92?
You didn't like
Yeah.
Virgil's theme
I
music?
could see 91 because that's when he was pushed with DiBiase, but 92, by the time 92 came around at WrestleMania, he was an 8-man tag.
Right.
And that was
SummerSlam, he's
more than-
jobbing the
that was-
nails.
That was more than he deserved. It was more than he deserved. And this piece of shit was like on
He was-
every Superstars. This
He was
fucking
too
clump-
legit to quit.
This clump was on every Superstars.
Clump.
Okay.
Clump.
This clump was on
Nate.
every Superstars. Every single Superstars. This clump had a match with a jobber. And he was able to cut a fucking promo. And Sean Mooney was like, "Oh, welcome to the event center. Let's see what the human clump Virgil has to say." And then they go to this stupid, shitty promo with this piece of shit. And then he'd cut a shitty promo. And then they make us watch a shitty match. And they were trying to make you think that Virgil was something that he wasn't. And he was a piece of shit. He sucks. Virgil
Nate.
sucks.
Nate.
And Vince McMahon was like, "That's a good clump, pal."
Nate.
Fuck that clump.
When I know it just passed. When's Aaron's birthday again?
March 3rd.
March 3rd. Okay, I know what I'm getting him for his birthday next year.
Oh.
It better not be a clump.
No, it's gonna be the Virgil's cameo. What is
It's going to be a Virgil Elite.
No. Getting him a cameo video from Virgil with his nut hanging out.
You should make a clump.
Hey,
Make
look at my clump.
And put a Virgil head on it.
Look at my clump, Aaron.
I promise you, there will be multiple Virgil gifts coming to Aaron on his birthday.
Virgil was over pushed in 90.
Okay, if you say so. I'm not
Fuck
arguing
that
the point
guy.
with you. Fuck that guy.
Kyle, overpush 1992.
I might be in the minority here, but Sid Justice.
Okay.
You had a guy that wasn't ready, and they just kept pushing and pushing and pushing this guy to the point where people got sick of it. I don't know if it's so much it was Hogan, because had you had the right opponent for Hogan, i.e. maybe Flair or even Savage, maybe things would be different. But
I curse you.
But I understand the point. I understand the appeal of Sid Justice, of fucking Psycho Sid. I get it. But they just pushed it.
He hadn't fully found himself.
No.
I don't know that he ever did.
No.
But what I will tell you is the most that I was ever a fan of Sid was in 1997.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually dug him in 95 with the feud with Shawn. I'm going to agree with Kyle, and I'm you know what, Kyle, you changed my mind. I'm still going to say who I picked, but you changed my mind. Yes, he was not ready to main event WrestleMania yet.
Can I say this?
Sure.
This. That was funny.
All right,
Virgil.
Vince McMahon, and I'm not even going to say the WWF. Vince McMahon is the only person that ever knew exactly how to use Sid Vicious.
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely true.
I agree with that.
Yes.
Like
Like
we
Vince
have this big fucking monster
As much
has
as
no fucking idea how to talk.
as much as Vince McMahon, and Hulk Hogan found their synergy and created the probably second biggest boom in wrestling history besides Austin. I agree with you, Aaron. Sid, to me, is what Vince McMahon visualizes as a professional wrestler.
Yeah. And then he got him and he was like, I think he's kind of a mental midget. And he can't speak. So let's not call him a mental midget. let's just say he's psycho. So
Yeah.
when he speaks improper, we'll just say, "Oh no, he's
God,
not.
that guy's crazy.
He's not a Riri. He's crazy. He's cray cray. You know, he's cray cray Sid. He's psycho. He has no idea what he's saying because he's insane.
You are half the man that I am, and I have half the brain
Brain that
that
you
you
have.
do. You know, when you look back at that promo and you see the look of astonishment on Sid's face after he delivers the line, you realize he for a split second he goes, "Damn, I fucked up."
What? No.
And then Nash is keeling over in the ring.
I just picture Sid like nervous farting in the ring.
Now let's be honest.
Or when he fucks up and he looks at Jim Ross and he goes, "Can we do that again?" And Jim's like, "No,
We're live,
We're
buddy.
live, pal. We're live, pal. Kyle changed my mind. I agree now with Sid.
So you're going
However,
with cray cray, but really a Riri.
right? Yeah, cray cray Riri, cray cray Riri. My original pick, though, just to put it out there, was Van Hammer.
Okay. Man, the Maxon boys have been hating on Van Hammer all week.
Well, we
oh,
hate
Van
on
Hammer's trash."
No, yeah, Van Hammer's garbage. If he
Like,
came on this show,
the only
if
thing
he
worse
came
than
on this show, like most guests, Archie, I would be like, "Oh, this is a show. I'm political. I'm a host." All right, sir, you really were good in one match in the ring. So let's talk about that match for a half hour. If Van Hammer came on the show, I'd be like, "What's up, you fucking trash bag? You no good fucking piece of shit." But anyway,
who told you were good enough to join the flock?
yeah,
I
yeah, you fucking idiot. Anyway,
I have a question. Wait a minute. I have a really funny question.
but hold on. Let me finish
What?
just 1 second.
Go ahead.
I'll wrap it up.
which
the
is what I
reason
wish Van Hammer's dad would have done.
The reason that I am curtailing to Kyle, even though I think that any push for Van Hammer was an overpush, is that I don't think, even though I am a fan and I do like him, the reason I will agree with Kyle that Sid was overpushed in 92 is that as good as I think that he could be as a monster heel, and as much as I liked him, he was not ready for the main event of fucking WrestleMania.
Yep.
So there you go. That puts it over the top. Although I originally picked Van Hammer, I agree with Kyle. It's Sid. So let's see what the torch readers said, and then Kyle or Archie, you can finish your thought.
Okay.
Come on,
Number 3, I do
Give me a
not
clue.
agree. Number 3, I do not agree with at all. Because I'm a mark for this guy, Tatanka.
Wow.
How the hell did they say he was over?
How can you overpush somebody who's only been in the company a year?
Well, and he's so good.
Well, see,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna discount that I like Tatanka, but I can understand it. At that time, I can understand at that time in '92, people were getting sick of gimmicks, and they were getting sick of the cartoon, and Tatanka was kind of cartoonish. I can see that.
Number 2 was Van Hammer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 1, and once I read this, I was like, oh, that might be the winner. Number 1, overpushed, 1992, Eric Watts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kyle had it right all along when he said it earlier.
Can I say this about Eric Watts?
You can say it if it's
He
negative.
sucked.
I'm gonna say this. I'm seriously gonna say this about Eric Watts. If they would have called him Eric Williams,
He still would have sucked.
people wouldn't have hated him as much.
Yeah, but he still would have
But he
sucked.
still would have sucked.
He sucked. He
He
was
wasn't
terrible.
He
Now,
wasn't terrible.
He
On to
was
my
terrible.
On to my Van Hammer question.
Absolutely terrible. He was fucking terrible. Okay. Aaron,
He wasn't.
It is.
He wasn't
It is.
Virgil bad.
It is. No, listen. It is
Was it Virgil
one.
bad?
He wasn't
Listen.
Van Hammer bad.
No,
He wasn't.
Yeah,
no.
he
Hold
was.
on. Shh. 1B, Eric Watts. 1A, Angelo Mosca Jr.
Ooh.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
All right. On to
Angelo
my.
He
Mosca
wasn't.
Jr. Angelo Mosca Jr.
He wasn't as bad as Virgil.
Yes, he was.
I
got
disagree.
Guy
Eric
didn't know how
Watts
to
is
throw a-
fucking terrible.
Eric Watts didn't know how to throw a drop kick properly.
I'm not even trying to tell you guys that Eric Watts was good.
Eric Watts couldn't throw a sandbag properly.
Can
I'm
I
just
ask
trying
my
to
Van
tell you
Hammer
guys that
question?
Eric Watts wasn't good. I'm trying to tell you he wasn't as bad as Virgil. That's all I'm trying to tell you.
All right. On to my Van Hammer question.
Yes.
Virgil
right.
Virgil can't even spell STF.
And Eric Watts can't do an STF.
He can at least
All right.
spell it.
All right. Van Hammer feuded with Cactus Jack and Abdullah the Butcher
Kinda.
in the early 90s. When he joined the flock, did anybody do what I did and say, you still fucking work here? Like, nobody saw Van Hammer for like 3 years up until he joined the flock.
Well,
He
and
wasn't
then
on-
Did you know that he was supposed to be private stash and not major stash?
in
And when they
the
told him that he was
Misfits
going to
in
be
action.
private, he was going to be private stash. He thought that he did. He told him that he didn't think that his rank in the MIA should be so low.
Uh-huh.
So they were
Did he
like,
not
"Oh,
realize the
we'll
pun?
call you major stash." Then
Did he not realize the pun of him being the private stash? Because it was a stash.
of course he didn't, because he's a fucking idiot.
Okay.
Come
look,
on to the show, Van Hammer. Is he dead?
I don't know. I
No.
don't think
We
he is.
Might have
no,
to
he's
play
in
an
jail
Aaron-
though because
we
he
might
got
have to play an Aaron Dead or Alive. Is he
Van
dead?
Hammer's not dead, but
Hold on, I'll check.
No, he's not dead.
I'm
But he
checking.
did. He
He
did
did
something.
time. He's doing time because of his private stash.
No, he did. Van Hammer did something terrible that I don't want to talk about on the show because
Oh,
it
God.
caused harm.
is it-
It caused harm
is
to
it-
other people, and
Is
I'm
it
not
Buck
going to make light of
Zumhoff
it.
terrible?
No,
No.
but
Okay.
he did something that I'm not going to make light of.
That's fine. He's alive and 61 years old.
But he did a crime. He did something stupid that I'm not going to make light of because it's not
No,
funny. What
leave
he
it there.
did.
okay.
Aaron,
Nate,
I don't.
I got a question for you.
Sure.
And because we're going to be wrapping it up here. I got to know, as much as all of our fans got to know.
Ooh.
Van Hammer, Kenny Omega.
They both
They
have the
kinda
same
look alike.
haircut.
Yeah, they kind of look alike.
Van Hammer, Kenny Omega.
Mm-hmm.
Van Hammer offends me less than Kenny Omega
Okay. Now we know.
because Van Hammer did shitty things in the ring. Looked really
He's at least
bad.
trained.
Looked really bad in the ring.
But he never wrestled a blow up doll.
No,
Or a
he
little girl.
didn't. And that's what I was about to say. We talked about it earlier during the match of the week. Whether shitty or not, at least it looked like a fight. When
Yeah.
Kenny Omega goes in the ring, it looks choreographed. Kenny Omega, okay, Van Hammer is really bad professional wrestler. Okay? Kenny Omega is really bad in Michael Jackson's Thriller video. Thank you, Kenny. Go fuck yourself. I mean, and he probably would.
Yeah.
Or at least, one of his wrestling opponents.
Aaron.
Archie and I had a great exchange this week,
Yes.
guys. Behind the scenes.
Yes.
Archie was going to send me something that I won in World Championship Customs, by the way, if
Yes.
you haven't joined that group yet.
Why the fuck
And he
not?
was joking with me that he sent me a Kenny Omega mystery box instead. And I don't remember what I asked was in it.
It was French fries shaped in Kenny Omega's hair and a ketchup face. It was ramen noodles.
It was something
Ramen
like
noodles.
that.
It was
I think
jazz
I
finger
said-
gloves.
I think I said blow up dolls.
There
And,
was a blow up doll. Jazz finger gloves. It was the whole 9 yards. I got it on Pro Wrestling Tees for $39.99.
Sparklers. I put sparklers in
Sparklers.
there too.
Yes.
Yes. Fuck
All right.
Kenny Omega. You know what? Van Hammer greater than sign Kenny Omega. Fuck you, Kenny Omega, you piece
Aaron,
of shit.
how many did you have correctly?
How many did I have correctly?
Yes.
Oh,
I
Archie
had-
and Aaron are still doing their gimmick. Sorry, folks.
Yeah.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Only one.
Civilized people are speaking.
I love it. And I'm supposed to be the host.
Civilized people are speaking. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Damn it. We tied. I had
Okay.
6 as well. Nate, how many did you have right?
He doesn't fucking know.
I don't know. I'm busy producing this shit.
Oh, okay.
I really don't know. I wasn't keeping track.
I know. I'm only joking.
I know.
I had 6,
I had 6.
but we all know Virgil is the worst.
I don't know that for sure. You got to prove it to me on paper. Who's that? Oh,
Right there. It's on
No.
paper.
no.
Virgil. Yeah. So I proved it on paper.
All right. So the name of this week's episode is Virgil's the Worst.
Did I win? Winner, winner, chicken dinner. What's
Not
going on
buying
right
you a
here?
chicken
Why is
dinner.
Nate on here twice?
I don't know.
Don't worry
scared.
about it.
Oh, echoes. All right. Take us home, Nate.
All right, well, quick. So that way we can have a winner between Aaron and Archie. We're going to play a quick game.
Okay.
Oh,
Virgil has won the best gimmick and a feud of the year in what year?
never.
91.
91?
Nope.
Okay. I don't want to play your stupid game.
Like, where are you pulling this from, Kyle?
Server newsletter.
Huh?
Oh, I'm going to say 98 in WCW.
Well, hold on,
with
hold
the
on,
West
hold on,
Texas
hold on,
Rednecks.
hold on. No, let me ask the question again.
Okay.
Ask the question again.
All right. In what year, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, did Virgil win best gimmick and feud of the year?
I'm going to say 98 or 99. Whenever the West Texas Rednecks had their feud with the No Limit Soldiers.
96.
So 98.
Aaron is
98. Aaron won?
96.
winner.
Because he was in the NWO.
Yep.
Ah,
It
you
has,
got me again, Maxim.
according to the Observer newsletter, in 96, he won.
I would have beaten you this week if it wasn't for your friend with his Wendy's.
You know what that means?
What?
Michael Wall Street also won that award.
Yes.
Which means the Observer's trash. And nobody should read it
That's why we go with the porch.
because it's written by us.
Let me go with the porch. I love it. All right, folks.
Man.
Aaron,
Huh.
give your parting words for this week.
Give my what?
Your parting words for this week. I didn't stutter.
I didn't hear you though. My
Thanks,
parting
Matt.
words are that I'm the winner chicken dinner, and I've enjoyed this show. And if you people haven't, sucks to be you. And I still think that Greg is a piece of shit.
Okay.
If you didn't listen to Reliving the Extreme this week, did you guys listen yet, Kyle, Archie?
I haven't listened just yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm
So
stunned as who Greg is.
I know
He's a
we're
piece of
trying-
shit.
He's
We're
a
trying to
piece of
shit.
sign off. Okay,
And
we're
he should
trying
go
to
to
sign
sleep.
off here. Hey, Aaron, stop. We're trying to sign off here. I know, but Archie, you have to hear this.
Okay,
And listeners of We Can't Wrestle, if you're not listening to Reliving the Extreme,
go
Aaron,
now. Go now.
ECW's Chad Austin, and myself, we are talking about ECW from the beginning to the end, week over week. But anyway, this week I shared listener feedback. We had someone that said he really liked the chemistry of the hosts and was enjoying following along. We actually had a guy that said that he was listening along now longer than he ever had watching ECW because watching along with us was getting him through it in the beginning.
Okay.
But my favorite one and Aaron's least favorite one was this guy named Greg, who kind of addressed his letter or his response or his feedback to Chad, and he said, "Chad Austin, oh Greg, ditch the co-hosts. They're atrocious."
Oh God.
I read it and I laughed my fucking ass off, and I was like, the minute I read it, I was like, Aaron needs to hear this.
Well, fuck you, Greg.
Greg's a garbage
Asshole.
person. He's
He
a clump.
is.
He's a clump.
Him and Virgil, Eric Watts, and Van Hammer all need to go.
Fucking clumps.
Clump.
Clumps. The clumps start Eddie Murphy and Virgil.
And Greg.
And Greg. It's the co-host. Oh, okay.
Archie,
Out. Yes.
your parting words.
Thank you all for joining us this evening. We always enjoy having you guys here listening to us and watching along when we do match reviews. Thank you to all of our people who put in match reviews because a lot of these have been great matches.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just a quick announcement with the moving of NXT to Tuesday nights on the USA Network. Living in the War here in We Can't Wrestle podcast on Facebook will be gone because if there's no Wednesday night shows, then there's no war going on.
AEW1.
AEW1. So Trolley Trivia will probably make its way to That's Not Wrestling along with Nate Maxon when I can join him on Sunday nights. And we'll bring on a guest and try and get them to answer some questions.
And I want to say this. It is now the weekly skirmish. But I want to say, just real quick before I give Kyle his parting words and we sign off, I've always thought this Wednesday night war was bullshit.
I agree.
And here's why I say that. For every time you AEW marks, or you, Brian Alvarez, have put up the ratings, AEW beat NXT by X amount of thousand of viewers or whatever. That's because AEW can be watched, one time live on TNT, right?
Right.
NXT can then be watched on WWE Network by a company that has its own network
Right.
the next day.
Or DVR'd like people do. It's that simple.
And that's a fair point. But my thing is, I think that a lot of people watch AEW live because that's the way they can watch it.
Right.
and then they watch NXT the next day because they know it's going to be on the network.
Right, and nobody wants to stay up till 2 a.m. watching wrestling on a Wednesday night because they got to be at work the next day. So
Exactly.
they watch it the next day.
AEW hasn't won the war because they're better. NXT is the best wrestling show on TV right now. I will stand by that all day long. AEW won because they are lame and don't have another outlet.
Well, not only that, they won because people are choosing to watch the live show first because they know they can get NXT tape somewhere else. But also, this is not the Monday Night Wars in the mid '90s when you had to pick and choose because you only had a VCR, and there was no rerun for Raw at all. And Nitro used to come on at 12:30 at night on Monday night. This is not the same. This is much different.
Absolutely.
And ratings, Nate will back me up here because he told me that during a show a couple of months ago. Ratings really don't mean anything anymore when it comes to the numbers.
Nope. I watch AEW on an illegal
streaming app. So do I.
I don't even have cable. I only have internet, so I can't watch AEW live.
Right. That's why Nate and I aren't Nielsen families.
Ratings don't mean anything, but you know what does mean something? Heading on over to the asylumwrestlingstore.com right now, because this Saturday is going to be Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah, baby.
Call him the Natural.
Then followed up by Bret the Hitman Hart.
God damn.
They got Chris Hemme, Kelly, Mark Mero, Darby Allin. Who else?
Brooke Hogan.
Brooke Hogan.
Let me tell you something, sister.
In the asylum, while you are still chained by COVID, you can meet and greet and get your autographs from these wrestling stars in the asylum.
And six of them will sign their panties.
Here's the cool thing.
One of them is probably Darby Allin.
If you don't want Omega's coming,
if you don't want to do a live meet and greet and you just want something signed, they have that.
You can still do it. Yep. Or if you don't want anything signed and you just want to talk to the talent, we can do that too.
Absolutely.
I mean, big names, guys. So head on over there now because I'm telling you, tickets are going to go and they're going to go fast.
There are only 20 live meet and greets with Bret the Hitman Hart left. That means once those are sold out, you will not get to meet him virtually, face to face, and talk to him.
I'm just going to say this. When they had Tori Wilson on, those sold out very quick.
Yep.
What happened with Hemme and Kelly?
Kyle speaks the truth.
Absolutely. And last and certainly not least, I want to end the show with 3 letters and no more elaboration. WNR. It's coming. And
it's gonna be all over your face.
New world order. We are taking over.
We are going to revolutionize things. We are going to change the game in wrestling podcasting and broadcasting this spring. And I'm again, like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm not going to say a lot now because I'm still finalizing things and working things out. But it's going to be a really big deal. So stay tuned. And that being said, thank you for joining us on the latest edition. Archie?
And Greg, if you're listening, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Yeah, and suck my paint, bitch. Nobody wants to hear Greg. Nobody wants to hear Greg. Nobody wants to hear Greg.
You're fucking fired, Greg. Get the fuck out.
Good night, everybody.
Nobody likes you, Greg.
Thank you.
If that's not the name of the show, nobody likes you, Greg. No one will know what the hell it means.
Thank you for joining us on the We Can't Wrestle podcast. We will see you next time, everybody. As I believe we are going to be reviewing AEW. No, I'm sorry, TNA. Same thing.
Yeah,
We'll see you next
TNA.
week.
Yeah, pretty much.
TNA Turning Point 2008, right? Yeah.
Is that when Jeff Hardy was drugged out?
I guess we're going to find out. That's like saying.
Yeah. That's like saying, "Hey, was that the time Greg didn't get laid?"
Goodbye. We'll
Good
see you
night.
next week, everybody.